Hi, I'm Sharon, and this is episode 342 of the Knit Style Podcast. Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 342. I'm not outside today, unfortunately. I wanted to be, but it is a wild day outside. I went for a walk this morning. It is Friday, August 2nd, by the way. Went for my nice long walk this morning, and I missed the last 2 days of my walk because of appointments and all this nonsense. So I was really happy to get out. It was very hot and humid and sunny. But I walk early and I walk in the shade on the rail trail. It was lovely. Get home and I had to run out to the market, and as I was going into the market, it started to rain, just a nice light shower. And I was like, okay, fine. And I was going to record inside anyway because it got so hot and humid that I know my equipment would not be able to handle it. And my equipment would die. So I decided to record inside. So I set everything up this afternoon, got it all set up, and I can't record in my normal spot because it is like an oven up there. This is the only spot I can record in. And got everything set up, and the lighting wasn't too bad. It was sunny out and I was getting light from the window, whatever. And then all of a sudden, we got hit with a giant thunderstorm. So I've had to wait about an hour for it to end because it was like nighttime and there was no lighting. So here we are. Anyway, welcome. And today I'm going to show you my shop update, my bi-weekly shop update. This is my last of my summery type of yarns. And my next update will be fall, starting the fall, and I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about this too, but I love dyeing fall yarn so much. So yeah, so watch for that. That probably won't be till the end of the month because our daughter is getting married. Her wedding is a week from Sunday, and we're so excited for her and her fiance to get married, and they're excited. She keeps texting me every day, Mom, it's only X days away. Can you believe it? I'm like, I know. So yeah, she lives in another state, so we have to travel to get to the wedding, and everything should be all set. It's very small. It's only, I think the final head count was like 35. It's very small, but it's in a gorgeous venue. It's a barn, and it's beautiful. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. So we're going to eat some good food, have some good drinks, and dance and celebrate Aaron and Brian, their love for each other, and I can't wait. I'm very excited. So, needless to say, I will not be recording to the end of the dyeing or recording to the end of the month. And it's been crazy here. Between all the appointments. Yeah, I mean, if you watched like a couple episodes ago, my family went through some crazy health stuff in 2023. And like the aftermath of it is continuing 2024. But it's fine. We're all fine. But just there's, residual stuff. My son had brain surgery in 2023. He's doing awesome. Full recovery, did great. But unfortunately, it was a meningioma, which is benign, but it was an aggressive meningioma caused by radiation when he had as a child. It's a long story. He had cancer. He had leukemia. Anyway, so there's a 50% chance that this could come back, and we don't like those odds. So he is going for radiation therapy again, a different type of radiation, and it's much less invasive, but he has to go every day for 6 weeks. Luckily, I don't have to drive him. He is going to take the train because this is in the big city. So I only have to drop him off at the train every day, and hopefully he'll be okay. And so, yeah, my life is a little crazy, but it's okay. I said to my husband, I go to all Richie's appointments because he's hard of hearing, so I interpret everything. Then I have my own stuff going on, and then my son likes me to come to his appointments. So, yeah, anyway. We're doing good, though. We're all great. Everything's fine. Everything is cured. We just want to make sure nothing comes back. So, a little oversharing. I don't usually overshare, but I don't know. I'm in a chatty mood today. So, let's first, I'm going to show you my shop update. I'm very excited about it. And this is a deep sea update. I'm super into the ocean. I love swimming in the ocean. It is it's my favorite type of swimming. I like to swim. I get a little bored with just swimming around the pool. I do, I like, if I can go in the pool, I'll swim. But my favorite is swimming in the ocean and snorkeling, as you may know. So I did some under the sea colors for my last summary update. And these are more of a deep sea theme. And I have a bag this week that Donna sewed. So here's the bag. It's so pretty, whale themed, and there even is a narwhal on that bag. I guess a narwhal must be a kind of whale. I don't know. Can someone fact check that for me? Put it down below. I know some people don't believe that there really exist. They do. I remember years ago, the Knit Girls, I think one of them didn't, I think Leslie didn't know that they were a real thing. They are. So they're rare. They're hard to find in the wild, but they're there. So there's all different kinds of species of whales. And I don't know. I might call this Whale Watch. Have you ever been whale watching? Let me know. I never have. Whale watching is something I would love to do. Because again, Miss Ocean. I love the ocean. And boats don't make me ill. Some people, they don't like the movement of little boats. It doesn't bother me because when I was a kid, I used to fish with my dad. And we'd be out on a little boat and rocking and rolling, and it doesn't bother me. So I would love to go on a whale watch. Someday, perhaps. Maybe I'll take a little trip to Boston and go whale watching once, but yeah. So this is going to be called Whale Watch. So with this set, you get the bag and the matching yarn. And yeah, it's really pretty. I love it. And you can order the bag and the yarn or just the yarn if you would like. By the way, if you ever want a sweater quantity of anything that you see, just message me. There's a little chat at the bottom of my website. If you click on that, I will and type in your question. It goes directly to my phone and I'll answer you. It's me. Unless it's like in the middle of the night. I don't answer after 11. But in the during the day and in the evening I'll answer you. So okay, I also have a mini skein set. And there are 5 minis. Let me get the colorway names because I don't always remember what I call them. So this is Whale Watch. I made it into a mini. This one, Night Dive. I can't even imagine night scuba diving. Crazy. What would you see? That's crazy. This one is Ocean Sunrise. This one is Deep Sea Dive. And this one is Ocean Swim. Ocean Swim and Deep Sea Dive are kind of a little bit alike, but Deep Sea Dive has more orange and Ocean Swim has more pink. So, but they're I think this set is very pretty, colorful, with some moody colors thrown in. Really happy with that. Okay, and I also have some full skeins. This Ocean Swim. Deep Sea Dive. Ocean Sunrise. And I only have one of these. This is the, I really like it. I'm going to dye some more up the next time I dye. I have one skein of Night Dive. I have some one-of-a-kinds because I don't want to waste any dye. So when I have leftover dye, I just throw in a skein. And this is Whale Watch Solid, which is kind of like a gray blue, deep gray. Kind of, it matches my shirt. That's cool. And this is the start of my fall colors, and this is Pumpkin Patch. So that was a fun update. So everything is in my shop. If you want free shipping, you can put in the code FREESHIP at checkout, and you can have free shipping on all orders over $50. So thank you so much for checking out my update, and please look forward to my fall colors coming out in like 3 weeks. So the last time I recorded, I had a Christmas in July update, and I decided to give away a set of mini skeins that I dyed for that update. And I asked you all to comment in the comment box down below, and I picked a winner, and the winner is Penny Schwartz 6393. So Penny, congratulations. You've placed orders with me before, so I know you like my yarn, and I know you'll love this set. So there are some of these left in the shop if you're interested. So if you want to grab a set, there are a few left. But Penny, you have your own. You've won. Okay, so before I show you what I've been knitting and talk about the topic of this week's episode, I want to invite you to subscribe if you haven't already. It would be awesome if you are not a subscriber to subscribe. I don't require a subscription for giveaways, but I don't know, it would be nice. It's free. And whenever I post an episode, it'll be under your subscriptions tab on YouTube, and that's all there is to it. Okay, so let's talk about what I've been knitting, and then we're going to talk about the G word, which is gauge, because I had a question about it in my comments. So I basically am, when I'm I'm only knitting on 2 things at a time. So the first thing is my socks. Aren't these awesome? This is Mustache Yarns in the Dark Side of the Moon extended play version. Dark Side of the Moon EPV. They're so fun to knit. They practically knit themselves. So what I do with these is, so I make contrasting heels with the second skein. So when Mustache does her put up, she gives you 2 separate 50-gram skeins to knit your socks so you can make them match. So what I do with this colorway, and I've knit, this is the second time I've knit this colorway. I knit up the leg, I cast on top down, knit down the leg, and then I put in a Fish Lips Kiss heel. And for the heel, I just pull from the outside of the second ball, and I find the rainbow part, and I knit the heel with the rainbow. And it just works out with my gauge that the rainbow fits exactly, the entire rainbow color fits exactly on the heel. And it's so cute. I knit a pair of these for my daughter and many years ago. And I was waiting for her to come out with this color again. And she like once a year she'll dye it. And I grabbed this one, and it's nice. It's so bright. I love it. Gray, black, and rainbow. It's my thing. I love it. I've dyed, I don't dye self-striping, but I have dyed skeins with gray, black, and rainbow. And it's like one of my favorite color combinations. So this is and it matches my bag. This is an old Suburban Stitcher sack. She doesn't sew bags anymore, but I love it. It's just easy to tote around. Love this bag. Okay, then the second project I'm knitting is the Grand Opening Shawl. I'm knitting it in grayscale. And I'm knitting it in a gradient. And I'm getting there. I'm very close. Well, I'm not very close. I'm going to give myself maybe a couple more weeks and I should be done. So here she is. Now this pattern is written for fingering weight, but I am knitting it in a lace weight, which is fine. It's just going to be smaller, which I think will work fine for me. And once I block it, it's going to grow for sure. But look how pretty. It's gorgeous. I love it. The only thing is, I think this is clue 17. It was either 17 or 18. This clue right here that I just finished. I put a piece of white paper behind it. This clue right here, with all of these little tiny, they're decreases, and they make this little like polka dot. It was a bitch. I hated knitting it. It must have taken me an entire full week just to do this section. And it was not difficult. it was difficult to execute. So the problem was, I mean, this is skinny yarn, so, and it's probably not quite as elastic as a pure wool because this has silk in it. It's wool silk seacell blend, which is beautiful, but it's not quite as elastic as a, yeah, it's not. It's just the silk keeps it from being that as elastic as wool. So what you had to do was, you had to, the patterning was on the wrong side. So you had to purl into the front, the back, and the front again to make 3 stitches. And then the next 3 stitches you had to purl 3 together. And that's what killed me. The making the 3 stitches out of 1 was fine. That didn't bother me. It was the purling the 3 together. Oh my goodness, it was slow. And at one point, you know, I'm knitting this at night, like before I go to bed. I dropped some stitches and I freaked out because I thought, oh my God, am I going to have to do this whole thing again? But I was able to save them. It's really pretty, but boy, I hated knitting it. I hated it. I'm so glad it's, so the rest of it is just straight up texture. It's not too bad. Yarn overs, no problem. You know, I can handle that. This purl 3 together, probably on a pure wool it wouldn't have been so bad, but, and it was skinny. Oh my God, I thought I was going to lose my mind. But I persevered and I finished it. So that section. So I think I have like 5 sections left, and they're short sections because, as you can see, this is a very interesting shawl construction. It's not like a straight up, you know, you pick up stitches and it makes it a little asymmetrical without it being asymmetrical. It's a triangle, but yeah. It's nice. It's going to be gorgeous when it's done. And I'm at the point now where the sections I'm knitting now are really fun. Just textures. It's not bad. So, yeah, so that's why I'm a little bit slow going. It's fine. I think I'll get a lot of wear out of that shawl because Rich and I, our thing is going out to eat. We like to go out to eat. And I like to dress up, sort of, a little bit, like wear a dress. And I always need a shawl, and that will go with anything that I own. So I think I'll get a lot of wear out of that, so I'm excited. And that's all I've been knitting. So let's talk about the topic of this show. And the title will give it away. And that is, what is, like, I'm thinking, one of the biggest mistakes that new knitters make. I mean, I entitled it The Biggest Mistake That New Knitters Make, but one of the biggest mistakes that new knitters make is looking at a pattern, seeing the suggested needle size, and just casting on with that needle. And I'm specifically talking about sweater knitting. And I know a lot of you have done this. I've done it. So, let me tell you why this is a big mistake. For many of you. If you're a new knitter, basically, and you don't really know how your knitting is going to work and whatever. We all knit differently. All of us. We all move our fingers differently. We hold the yarn differently. It's just, it is what it is. You know, you learn And then you just adjust according to your body type and your finger type and whatever, and what you like and what's comfortable for you. So Joji Locatelli's gauge is going to be different than Andrea Mameri's gauge, which is going to be different from my gauge for sure. So most patterns, especially sweater patterns, give a suggested needle size. I'm sure that there are patterns out there that don't say suggested, they just say size 6, size 4. Some patterns say size 6 or whatever needle gets you the correct gauge. That's fine too. Some patterns say the sample was knit in a 6. Your needle size may vary, which is basically what I'm saying. But some patterns just say size 6. And when I knit with a size 6, my fabric is going to be looser than Donna when she knits with a size 6, because Donna is a tighter knitter than me. Donna is my friend who sews my bags. Now, Donna loves knitting Joji Locatelli patterns because she doesn't have to gauge swatch. You know why? Because her gauge is the same as Joji's. And her body type is the same as Joji's. So her Joji sweaters fit Donna perfectly. She told me that once. I'm like, that's amazing. So, if you knit a lot of sweaters, you don't need to gauge swatch, because you know your size 6 is going to give you a certain fabric. Although that can change with the type of yarn you're using. Is it a superwash? Is it a farm yarn? Is it a Norwegian yarn? All yarns aren't the same either, and all needles aren't the same. Some people are tighter with a metal needle. Some people are tighter with a wooden needle. I'm probably tighter with a wooden needle, but I don't use wooden needles, so I wouldn't know. So what I'm saying is, when you see a pattern, and I'm talking mostly to new knitters casting on a sweater, don't just pick up the needle that is listed in the pattern and just start knitting. What I do is I say, now this sweater, Skeindeer, is my favorite designer, and her body type is similar to mine. My gauge is not similar to hers because she's much tighter than me, but she will say the sample was knitted on a XYZ 6, whatever, and use needle that's best for you. Okay, so I had never knit with this yarn before. This is loop yarn. It's a worsted weight. I don't generally knit with worsted weight yarn, and so I really needed to swatch. So that's what I did. I swatched. And this sweater fits me perfectly. I think I don't even know, let's look what the suggested needle size is. I don't even know what she suggested. No clue. Let's check. Okay, so here is Ellie's Ravelry page for Sweater Hug. And her needle size is size 7, US 7, US 4, US 8, and US 6. So she says here in the description, needles, gauge size needles, which for Ellie means the needle's best for you, not what she used, unless you have the same gauge as her. gauge size needles for body and sleeves, and 1 millimeter below gauge size needles for ribbed cuff, neckline, and hem. So this is where she says what she used. The sample was made using 5 millimeters US 8 and 4 millimeters US 6. Okay, so I used a 4.5 millimeter, a size 7 for the body, and I used a 6 for the ribbing and a 7 for the sleeves. And your sleeves very often are tighter gauge than your body because you're knitting a smaller circumference. So this is the first part of a few shows that I'm going to talk about gauge on. Today I'm just giving an overview of where to start. So what I would do, new knitter, and the reason I'm talking about this is someone asked me a question in the comments section. And she said, my sweaters are either too big or too small. So you need to knit a proper gauge if you're an inexperienced sweater knitter. And in the coming episodes, I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that. But I'm not going to do it all today. I'm just giving you kind of an overview. So yeah, you can. It's wild how your gauge, if you're tighter or looser than the suggested gauge of the sweater, your sweater is going to be, it can be exponentially bigger or smaller than what you want. So I did some math, and I'm just going to talk about it briefly. So say you're knitting a size 36 sweater. So if your gauge is 6 stitches to the inch, which is 24 stitches for a 4-inch swatch, which is what most patterns recommend that you do, a 4-inch swatch. I would do a bigger one, but that's just me. So in order to knit a size 36 bust, and I'm making that number because it's just an easier number, a 36 bust, 6 stitches to the inch would be 216 stitches. So you're like, okay, I'm a 34. I'm going to give myself 2 inches of ease, which means a little bit bigger than your 34 size bust. I'm going to knit a 36, someone says, and they cast on the appropriate amount of stitches and get to that 216, and if their gauge is off, they could be very off. So, for example, if your 24 stitches gauge swatch is 3.5 inches and not 4 inches, your gauge is 6.8 stitches to the inch, and your sweater is going to be a size 31 bust. Conversely, if your swatch of 24 stitches is 4.5 inches, and you might say 4.5 inches, that's not a big deal. Well, your 216 stitches at a gauge of 5.3 stitches to the inch, your sweater is going to be 40 inches. So look at it's a huge difference. So your gauge is the size of your stitch. And how you get there is by changing your needle size. And your needle size is not always the same as what the designer uses. So Ellie used an 8 for her sweater. I used a 7 because I don't knit as tight as she does. So if I used an 8 for the sweater, it would be way too big on me. and I would have used more yarn. So anyway, that's my first sort of TED Talk about gauge, and I'll be giving you some tips and tricks in the next episode. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope perhaps you learned something if you're a new knitter. Please let me know down below if you've ever had like sweater horror stories. I've had a few. Go back in my catalog. I have like sweater try-ons that just did not work out, but that sometimes happens. So, all right, I hope you all have a good few weeks, and I'll see you toward the end of August. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and cheers!